In the dense rainforest of Uganda, there is a kingdom. It doesn't have a name on any map drawn by human hands. But for 30 years, it was the greatest empire the chimpanzee world has ever known. Nearly 200 strong, an army of brothers, a paradise of fix and safety. If you've watched the Netflix series Chimp Empire, you know these faces. You've seen them hunt together, play together, and defend their borders against outsiders. They were the ultimate example of what happens when everything goes right for a society. But something is happening in Kibale right now that the cameras didn't catch. The empire has collapsed. Not from an outside invasion, not from a disease. It has shattered from within. Fathers are hunting sons. Former grooming partners are tearing the throats out of their old friends. And in a dark, mathematical twist of evolution, the killers are thriving. This is the story of the Ngogo Chimpanzee Civil War. It is a story about what happens when a society gets too big to laugh, but too crowded to live. And it might just hold a very uncomfortable mirror up to our own nature. To understand the war, you have to understand the impossible peace that came before it. Ngogo was an anomaly. Most chimpanzee communities max out around 50 or 60 members. If they get larger, they usually splinter. But Ngogo just kept growing. By the early 2000s, it was a metropolis of nearly 200 apes. Why? Simple math with a dark ingredient. Ngogo has very few leopards, and for a long time, it had very little encroachment from neighboring human villages. The fruit trees were loaded, the males were huge. Life was so good that researchers found these specific chimpanzees lived as long as human hunter-gatherers. Imagine a city where no one dies young and the grocery store is always full. But a city of 200 needs diplomats. Scientists call them bridge males. These were the elder statesmen. They didn't fight for the top alpha spot anymore. They kept the peace. They were the angles who made sure the guys from the west side and the guys from the central side remembered they were still Ngogo. They wore the bond. But sometimes, these kind of bonds break. In 2014, the forest went quiet in a different way. It wasn't a battle, it was biology. Over the course of just few months, 5 adult males died. We are not sure exactly what pathogen swept through. A respiratory illness, likely. But it didn't take the weak. It took the bridge males. The diplomats vanished. Without the elders to mediate, the natural cliques of west side and central side hardened into borders. There was a new alpha male, younger, more aggressive. It didn't have the relationship to hold the supergroup together. The city was now just 2 armed camps sharing a zip code. June 24, 2015. Researcher Aaron Sandel was watching. Usually, when 2 parts of a group meet, there is a celebration, hugging, grooming, screaming with joy. On this day, the Western group had the Central group coming and fled in terror. No greetings, just silence and retreat. For 6 weeks after that day, the 2 groups did not see each other. They actively avoided the center of their own territory. In chimpanzee psychology, that is the equivalent of a couple moving into separate bedrooms and not speaking. The divorce was underway. The Western group is smaller, maybe 80 strong. The Central group is the majority, over 110. The Central Group should be the strongest, but the Western Group has something the Central Group lacks: unified hatred. They launch a patrol, not into enemy territory, but into the former common ground. They find the alpha male of the Central Group alone. It is a targeted decapitation strike. They don't kill him, but they attack him so badly that his reign is effectively over. This is a critical point in the story. Chimps will kill neighbors. That is normal. But this is the first time they have attempted to assassinate a former brother. This is where the story becomes Shakespearean. The research notes details a specific pair, Garrison and Peterson, father and son. Before the split, they were family, but the border of the Jism ran right through their bloodline. Garrison stayed west, Peterson stayed central. In the world of Ngogo, the son was now the enemy. By 2018, the split was permanent, and then came the slaughter. The Western Group, the smaller underdogs, became a war machine. They patrolled constantly. They targeted not just males, but infants. According to the numbers from the official study published in the journal Science just this year, 7 adult males killed in the observed attacks, 17 infants torn from their mothers and killed, 14 central males simply vanished, presumed dead in the forest. And Peterson, the son of Garrison, he was one of the vanished. Somewhere in the deep green of Kibale, the son fell and the father's coalition moved on. Now, I need you to focus on this next part. This is the gut punch of the entire story. Before the war, only about 59% of the infants in the Western Group made it. After the war, 92% survived. They took the Central Territory. They took the best victories. They eliminated the competition for their own sons. From an evolutionary standpoint, called blind mathematical evolution, the Western Group did the right thing. The violence worked. It made their daughters fatter and their sons safer. Scientists estimate that this kind of community fission happens in the wild maybe once every 500 years. We just happened to have cameras rolling and notebooks open for this one. Jane Goodall saw something similar in Gombe in the 1970s. Back then, critics said, well, that was Jane's fault. She fed them bananas. She created artificial competition. But for the case of the Ngogo in Uganda, no bananas here, no human meddling. This was pure. This was natural. The Ngogo War proves that the capacity of us versus them extermination does not require a flag. It does not require a god. It does not require a human brain. It only requires a social bond and the breaking of it. We share 98.8% of our DNA with them. We like to think that 1.2% difference is where we put morality, where we put peace. But watching the Western Group patrol the border they created with their own brothers, you have to wonder, is that 1.2% difference a steering wheel? Or is it just a longer leash on the same beast?